Tonight, we hear from the family of a man who died waiting for an ambulance that never came in time. Brian Hurton died alone after twice calling 999, only to be told by call handlers an ambulance would not be sent for him.
It makes me feel quite traumatised that he was left like that, his last dying moments on his own, struggling for breath.
Police say misinformation's increasingly fueling hate and violence after a series of angry protests in Glasgow. And breaking news tonight, a man linked to online misinformation in Glasgow has been stopped and questioned at Edinburgh Airport under anti-terror laws. Also on tonight's programme.
I can hardly walk anymore, and then it's more just the mental side of it all. I was having flashbacks, nightmares, like I was scared to go to bed myself.
Taylor from Port Glasgow is warning others to be vigilant on nights out after being spiked with a needle at a nightclub in Magaluf.
Coming up in tonight's sport, on day 2 of the Scottish Open, the world's best golfer has met his match here at the Renaissance Club, failing to make the cut for the first time at an event in 4 years.
I'm Laura Goodwin, this is Reporting Scotland. Brian Hurton's family say they're traumatised after he died alone at home despite twice calling an ambulance for help. The 55-year-old dialled 999 in November last year, and despite telling operators he was struggling to breathe, paramedics were not dispatched. The Health Secretary says there's been a failure in call handling in his case, while his sister is calling for an independent inquiry into the circumstances of Brian's death, as Gillian Sharp reports.
Well, Brian was a very outgoing guy. He was loved by everybody, very friendly. He loved animals, he loved kids, he loved his family.
His sister Alison says she couldn't believe it when the family got a call last November saying he died.
It makes me feel very sad. It makes me feel quite traumatised that he was left like that, his last dying moments on his own, struggling for breath, begging for help, thinking that he was going to get help, and nobody should have to deal with something like that. It needs to change. Things need to change.
An official report sent to the family in May said Brian had phoned 999 10 minutes apart, but each time his call had been categorised as for further assessment. In this transcript of one of the calls, the handler asks if the patient is breathing. "Yeah, I'm struggling," Brian answers. "I phoned 10 minutes ago and I'm still..." At this point, the transcript notes he was gasping. Brian was told he'd receive a call back from a clinician. That happened more than an hour later, but at that time there was no answer. The report says there was a missed opportunity to code the first call as a higher priority, and that Brian waited longer than expected for a clinical review. It calls for new guidance on how calls are graded. Alison says she has no idea if things could have been different, but the way they unfolded made losing Brian worse.
If the ambulance had have come right away for Brian, it would have been a completely different outcome for us as a family. We wouldn't be having to deal with the PTSD, knowing that Brian was all by himself, when we would have been there if we knew.
The Scottish Ambulance Service has given their sincere condolences to the family and says they're committed to learning and improvement.
I miss him dearly. I can't believe I'm never going to see him again. And yeah, I think what happened to Brian, how he died, it was traumatic for us all. And I'll never go over it. I think about him every day and I miss him every day.
They say they're fighting to make sure this doesn't happen to another family. Gillian Sharp, Reporting Scotland.
Authorities are warning against the spread of misinformation after plans for a protest in Glasgow were shared online over false claims a disused care home is going to house asylum seekers. It comes as Police Scotland say the home of an innocent person was targeted in one of the recent flashpoints in the city. Our Home Affairs correspondent Chris Clements is with us now. And Chris, first tonight, some breaking news coming in about a man being questioned by police under anti-terrorism legislation.
Just in the last hour, we received a statement from Police Scotland that said that today a 53-year-old man was stopped stopped using powers under Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act at Edinburgh Airport. He was interviewed and digital devices were seized for further examination. Inquiries are ongoing. Now, he wasn't arrested or charged. Now, under Schedule 7, officers can stop and question someone to determine whether they are concerned in the commission, preparation or instigation of acts of terrorism. And it's understood this man is known for circulating social media content that is linked to the current disorder we're seeing in Glasgow.
Right, and let's turn to those calls from the council and police over a planned protest in Glasgow tomorrow. What more do we know about that?
Well, this concerns Allender Court. It's a disused care home in Postle Park in the north of the city. A planning application was submitted on behalf of a company called Optima Nursing and Care Services to expand it, bring it back into use, and somehow this has morphed into claims circulating on social media that this will be used to house asylum seekers. Now, the City Council says that this claim is absolutely not true. It said spreading misinformation is unacceptable and doing so can cause damage to Glasgow's communities.
And what about the wider context of all this? Because we've had police and others keen to call out misinformation in recent days.
Yeah, so this week we saw ugly scenes in Cranhill in the East End, and that was a spontaneous protest against a man who was on bail for an alleged assault that was linked to an alleged rape in the city centre. Now, he and his family were taken into protective custody. Then there were online rumours that the family had been moved into another area of the city, Castlemilk. There was another protest. In fact, this flat at the centre of that protest was occupied by, as police described, an innocent member of the public. And at the heart of this was from Assistant Chief Constable Alan Waddell on our radio programmes this morning. He said the heart of this is online, fast-paced misinformation about perceived sex offenders of ethnic origin, and that is being propagated from people outside these communities involved. Now, he said that people are being targeted because of the colour of their skin. Now, referring back to Postle Park, he said that they are expecting a protest there tomorrow. There could be disorder, but he also warned the public about sense-checking things that you're reading online.
OK, and this is a story that you're going to be following up for us across the weekend and across all our platforms. Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Now, a man has been arrested after a woman was allegedly raped in the Anderston area of Glasgow. Police cordoned off an area of vacant land next to student flats in Warwick Street after the incident at 11:15 on Wednesday night. Officers confirmed today a 25-year-old man's been arrested and say inquiries are ongoing. A man who admitted killing a restaurant owner in a one-punch attack after being extradited to Canada from Scotland has been jailed for 3.5 years. Sharif Rahman died in hospital a week after hitting his head on the pavement in the assault by Robert Evans Jr. in 2023. Stephen Godden has more.
Sharif Rahman died in August 2023 following a confrontation outside his restaurant in the Canadian city of Owen Sound. His death led to an international manhunt and the 3 men involved being arrested and extradited from Scotland. Today's sentencing of his killer means that finally the legal process is over.
Well, it gives us some closure. We'll never replace Sharif. You know, his family have lost a good man. The community has lost a good man. We can't replace him. That's the unfortunate part. But I hope the community will keep him in mind and act as he would have and treat each other with respect and dignity and kindness.
Sharif Rahman pursued Robert Evans Jr. into the street over an unpaid bill. Evans' father, also Robert, on the left, and his uncle, Barry Evans, were accessories to what happened next. Evans Jr. punched Mr. Rahman, who fell and hit his head on the pavement. He died in hospital a week later. Initially, the only clues were grainy CCTV images, but police eventually discovered their 3 suspects were from the UK, that they'd been working locally paving driveways for cash and had fled Canada after the killing.
It's understood the men are originally from the Manchester area, but all 3 were arrested in and around Edinburgh in late 2024. Extradition proceedings were held here at the city's Sheriff Court. Initially, all 3 resisted extradition, but eventually agreed to face charges in a Canadian courtroom.
In June, the 2 older men admitted being accessories to the crime, were sentenced to time served and have since been deported. Robert Evans Jr. was today jailed for 3.5 years for manslaughter backdated to his arrest. The court heard he'll be deported after serving the remaining 7 months of his sentence.
I don't think that any of them had planned for this to happen. It was kind of one of those things where everything unfolded very quickly, and it was just a very tragic ending.
A loving husband and father, Sharif Rahman's family, the judge said, would suffer his loss forever. Stephen Godden, reporting Scotland.
Some of the day's other stories now. A former RAF airman has been jailed for 11 years for a series of rapes and abuse of 2 women. Kenny Dalgleish, who was based at RAF Lossiemouth in Murray, carried out a campaign of bullying and violent behaviour. The 38-year-old was convicted of 11 charges at the High Court in Glasgow, dating from 2006 to 2023. Police and fire investigators have launched a joint probe into a blaze that decimated a historic building in Edinburgh's Princes Street. At its height, 50 firefighters battled the flames at the B-listed former Debenham store. The fire was fully extinguished this morning, while road closures are expected to remain in place for the time being. Pedestrians are being urged to avoid the area. And the King and Queen will attend the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games at the Hydro in Glasgow later this month. They will join athletes, officials, volunteers and spectators from across the Commonwealth to mark the beginning of the event. A teenager from Port Glasgow is warning others to be vigilant on nights out after being spiked with a needle at a nightclub in Magaluf. Taylor Coulter was on her first holiday with friends to celebrate finishing school. Tests revealed she was injected with GHB, a notorious date rape drug. She's been sharing her story.
I never really thought it would happen to me. I was very surprised how fast it takes over. I could barely feel my legs. I think I had like 20 seconds. Tell my pals, and if they weren't there, I would dread to think what happened. It was my first ever holiday with my friends. I think it was important because I move away from all my friends and family. Going to Louisiana to go to the college, LSU. Big dreams just for me to make it pro, playing football. It's affected me massively because I was obviously preparing for pre-season over in America. I can hardly walk anymore. And then it's more just the mental side of it all. I was having flashbacks, nightmares, I was scared to go to bed myself.
Before the holiday she wasn't going, I didn't let her go, and I thought I was being a bit harsh and being maybe the overprotective dad. She came to us a week before and basically begged us that all our friends are going and this is our last chance to have a girls' holiday.
It happened on the second last night. I was in Banana's nightclub. So I went to the toilet and then came back. I would say halfway down the stairs, this man approached me and bumped into my arm, and then it was like a wee sharp shooting pain in my arm, and then I felt like a liquid run through my whole body, and it kind of took over me, but I did have the sense of to go over and tell my pals straight away. It was more just scary because I didn't know what was happening to me, and then obviously I was kind of losing feeling in my body. My friends were there, so they've kind of recapped the whole night, so they carried me basically to the hotel. They were on the phone to my mum and dad, their mums and dads, trying to get the best advice.
We got a phone call about, I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning. We knew straight away there was something wrong. And then when we saw Taylor and she was lying there and unresponsive, we basically saved Taylor, I'd say, because Taylor was in no fit state to do anything for herself.
I don't really have any memory of me getting from the hotel to the hospital. That's when they found the GHB and then some sort of antidepressant. I've been given antivirals to try fight any blood diseases. I'm just so tired after doing any sort of exercise. It's been really taking it out of me. But I'm still confident that I'm going to make it back and be the footballer I once was.
Taylor Coulter speaking there. Tonight's main news again. The sister of a man who died alone after twice calling 999 only to be told an ambulance would not be sent for him calls for an independent inquiry into the circumstances of his death.
Coming up in tonight's sport, on day 2 of the Scottish Open, the world's best golfer has met his match here at the Renaissance Club, failing to make the cut for the first time at an event in 4 years.
Pig farmers are warning they're losing around £1 million a month across Scotland after an outbreak of a disease in Spain halted exports outside Europe. As a result, there's now a surplus in pigs, which has led to a price drop. Some farmers have already left the sector as a result. The Scottish Government have announced a £2 million support package for independent pig farmers. Our Environment and Rural Affairs correspondent Kevin Keane has more.
It is an industry that's been rapidly plunged into crisis. Estimates suggest Scotland's small independent pig sector is losing £1 million a month, and that's unsustainable. Danny, who farms near Inch in Aberdeenshire, sells about 270 fat pigs each week. That's a loss every 7 days of more than £10,000.
The 2 million will take our loss from 35 to 40 pound a pig down to a 25 pound per pig loss. So we are still majorly going to be in debt. We're very grateful for something, but it's not the answer to our problems at the moment.
Announcing the support on Danny's farm today, the Rural Affairs Secretary acknowledges it won't stop them losing money, but hopes it'll help.
I think it's important to point out that this is a temporary, hopefully a stopgap to tide them over from the worst effects of this. And we are hoping that the price point and the price that they get offered is going to come back up, is going to stabilise.
The package will top up the price per kilo paid to independent pig farmers and will be backdated to March. But farming leaders say there needs to be a longer-term plan.
That needs retailers to come to party, it needs processors to come to party. We need to see a fair price for the product. At the moment it's well below the cost of production, and that's why the industry is in such a sorrowful state.
There's ongoing concern about the spread of African swine fever across the continent. The Scottish Government has urged UK counterparts to improve biosecurity at the border and to do more to support the pig sector across the UK. Kevin Keane reporting Scotland, Inch.
Well, time now to get the sport with Lewis, who is once again enjoying the sunshine at the Scottish Open. Lewis, you look like you're having a great day, but not so good news for some others.
Yeah, certainly not, Laura. And for what it's worth, I am having a great day. Why wouldn't I be? The sun is out, the atmosphere around here is certainly ramped up a notch. I did say that Friday starts to bring a little bit of drama, and the thing that everyone is talking about just now is the world number one, Scotty Scheffler, because while it's been a glorious day here for everyone else, it's not been so great for him, because would you believe the world number one has missed the cut, the first time that's happened to him in 4 years. The American never really got going ultimately and finished his second round on level par for the tournament, some distance behind the current leaders who are on 9 under par. One of them is England's Jordan Smith, another is the South Korean Tom Kim. Now the cut is likely to be 2 under, and it has been a fruitful afternoon for Robert McIntyre and Rory McIlroy, who are playing together. McIlroy alongside the leaders on 9 under, and McIntyre not far behind them either on 7 under. One of his many highlights today was a 31-foot putt for birdie on the par 3 15th. Incredible. So both of them really finding their rhythm out there as they finish off their second rounds. And another Scot, Callum Hill, is just 2 back from McIntyre as well. So he's also going well. But now let's get a bit of a reaction, shall we? Particularly from that man, Scotty Scheffler, after his round today.
It could be one of those things where you just get over, jet lag, get used to new style of golf, new types of grasses, and maybe I just haven't adjusted as quick, or maybe this golf course doesn't suit my eye. I'll reflect on that kind of at the end of the year and assess what my plans are going into next season.
Yeah, we'll just see how it goes, see how the weather adds up. I think it's going to be maybe a bit rainy tomorrow. So hopefully that adds a little bit to me as well if I can play some decent golf in the rain. But yeah, I'm just going to try to tidy a few things this afternoon and have a go again.
Is it fair to say that the motivation tomorrow will be to earn yourself a nice late tee-off time on Sunday so you can have a late night watching the football?
Exactly that, yeah. We were saying that at the start of the week. If you can get a late tee time on Sunday, that would be perfect so you can stay up and watch the game.
Yeah, so Jordan Smith eager to soak up the England v Norway World Cup match without the threat of an early Sunday alarm there. But let's take a look at the leaderboard, shall we? Because he is one of those that is on 9 under alongside Kim and McIlroy. As I mentioned, these scores from a short while ago. A cluster of players are also at 8 under that you can't quite see there. That includes last year's champion Chris Gotterup. McIntyre has just in the last few moments moved up to 7 under par there, jumping up to tied 7th. Callum Hill and Scott Jamieson are the other Scots who will progress to the weekend. But as I mentioned, no Scheffler. So how do the spectators feel about that surprise? What about Scheffler not making the cut? That was quite something, wasn't it?
Shocking.
That is the word for it, shocking. Yeah.
Definitely.
I thought he did better, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought he was quite good, but it's a bit windy today though. So.
Apparently he's quite a good player, but not.
I thought he was quite good.
But... So I understand you've already been playing golf this morning?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was not bad. We got first place. It wasn't really that bad, to be
You
honest.
got first place? And then you followed that up by coming at the Renaissance Club?
Yeah.
It's a pretty memorable day.
Yeah, it took us ages to get here, to be honest.
Did it?
Yeah,
How long did it take?
Probably about 2 hours.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
I feel like I've improved more on my driver because I was struggling a bit before. We went and saw like Scheffler and Tommy Fleetwood's play. It was really good.
Were you surprised to see Scheffler miss the cut?
Yeah, really.
He's no missed many cuts for a long time, has he? You know, he's always there or thereabouts, but it was surprising to see him have such an off day.
Having a lovely day, weather's nice, having a great time.
And you're managing the chaos of a full clan day out?
Husbands are out following Rory McIlroy, so we are here holding down the fort with the children. So.
Yeah, so there's really plenty for everyone to do and people travelling from far and wide, as you heard there as well. But we're going to move away from the Renaissance Club here to bring you some other news, and we'll move to football because Celtic have announced a new signing, and it is Colombian forward Camilo Duran, who is signed on a 5-year deal from Karabag in Azerbaijan. And in some sore news for Hearts fans as well, influential midfielder Cammy Devlin will not be at Tynecastle next season after failing to agree terms on a new contract. Well, as for St Mirren, they have named Marcus Fraser as their new captain. That comes after the departure of Mark O'Hara to Kilmarnock. Fraser scored the crucial goal at the end of last season, which preserved the Buddies' top flight status, and he is eager to get going as skipper.
Had a chat during the week with the manager and the coaching staff, and they asked me to take if I would like to take the role on, and of course I jumped at the chance, and I just thanked them and appreciate it. Since they've been in for the end of the season to now, they've really backed me and showing faith in me, so no, I'm just happy, and hopefully I can reward them with performances on the pitch and obviously gelling all the new guys together as well.
And we're going to also bring you some rugby news now, because don't forget, Scotland are looking to build on what was a very positive start to their Nations Championship campaign when they opened with victory over Argentina. Tomorrow evening they face South Africa in Pretoria, and captain Sione Tuipulotu believes they have what it takes to pull off what would be a seismic victory.
I think playing them away is a little bit of a different beast. I know that from travelling on and playing the URC teams away from home. They're a different beast when they're in their own backyard and they get to wake up in their own beds and things like that with play in front of their family. So I'm experienced enough to know that they'll be a different beast in front of their own crowd.
So from here at the Renaissance Club, that's all the sport for you, Laura, but we're positioned in a great spot just now because Robert McIntyre, Rory McIlroy and Chris Gotterup should be arriving here when they finish their round in the next few minutes. We'll hopefully try and nab a word with them, and you can get some more reaction to all the golf here and a little bit more of an update over on the news at 7 shortly.
Super, we look forward to that. Thank you very much, Lewis. Today marks the start of a public consultation on the packaging and display of nicotine products, including vapes, as the government tries to reduce rates of addiction and illness. On tonight's News at 7, over on the BBC Scotland channel, the chief executive of anti-smoking charity Ash Scotland tells Graham Stewart why the move is necessary.
Yeah, so I think we have a very good body of evidence from having to restrict and progressively restrict tobacco advertising and promotions, flavours and attractiveness. And that has driven smoking rates down and stopped uptake. What we're dealing with at the moment is a surge in uptake among children in about 2020-21, when the market was flooded with really cheap, brightly coloured, sweetie flavoured and fruit flavoured devices that were clearly attractive to children. So we know that promotion and marketing work. It's how these things get sold. It's why we banned Alcopops in Scotland. And in other countries, many countries globally have just banned these things. They've said, we don't know much about them. What we do know is quite worrying. We believe that they will cause an epidemic of health harm, so we're just going to ban them. So 35, 40 plus countries have just banned them. In Europe, several countries have started to ban all flavourings. So they only allow flavourless or tobacco flavour. And there is a progressive move to regulating these.
More on that coming up in the 7th. Time now for the weather with Judith. Gorgeous picture.
Yeah, sunshine and leaf.
Yes.
Name that band. A very good evening to you. Well, isn't it nice to see the sunshine in Shetland? They've been shrouded in a lot of cloud of late, and it promises to be a fine couple of days here, actually. But we have this weather front that's been plaguing northern Scotland, bringing rather cool, cloudy conditions, keeping the cool temperatures. But we have reached the heat wave criteria across Scotland. Big news in the weather world. Over 25 Celsius for 3 consecutive days. We saw that in Charterhall in the Borders, a Boyne in Aberdeenshire. But next week it turned widely warm as that high pressure really starts to rule the roost. It's still in charge at the moment. This week weather front's been a bit annoying. It's brought thicker cloud. It'll bring some rain tonight, but then it just basically evaporates as the high winds out. And that high pressure is staying with us. The position of the high is crucial because we will see a cooler easterly for the east coast with the highest temperatures in the west. But as I said, it will turn widely warmer. Some warm sunshine for the south, but across northern Scotland, here's our front bringing thicker clouds, some outbreaks of rain. We could see some lively thundery downpours across the northeast tonight. And that frontal rain extends further south across eastern Scotland tonight, clouding over as well. Still quite humid in the south, that bit fresher in the north, and we'll see some clear spells for Shetland and the Western Isles. A lot of cloud around tomorrow. Still that rain first thing in the east, but it does very quickly clear away. And then for most of us, it will be a dry day. And in fact, some good sunny spells again across Shetland. A lovely day, and it will brighten up across North and Orkney. The wind's coming in from the north, but there'll be light. There'll be a freshness to the air, though. Across eastern Scotland, a legacy of frontal cloud, maybe a few spots of rain or drizzle. Noticeably cooler, though, tomorrow by a good 10 degrees. Similarly, across the southeast, the best of the sunshine down across the southwest, where we could still top 24 Celsius. And I think we'll see good, brighter sunny spells developing along the west coast as we head through the course of the day. And temperatures around about 21 Celsius inland, a bit lower over the Western Isles. Tomorrow evening, generally a dry picture. The best of the evening sunshine in the west, leading to clear spells here and across the Northern Isles as well. As we head into Sunday, well, that front's just a wee bit of cloud, and that cloud will actually thin and break as we head through the course of Sunday, allowing sunny spells to develop across many parts of the country, and will top maybe into the low 20s for many. Cooler in the east with that easterly breeze here, and a wee bit cooler in the north as well. But let's take a look at the sunshine symbols. This is next week. Temperatures on the rise for many of us will be into the mid-20s. So nice to see a real taste of summer, and it will be widely summer-like across the country, so you'll lose the cloud in the north at last. Have a good evening.
Thank you. And that's where we leave you from all the team. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.